Don't quit your 9 to 5 to start a business. That is dumb. Do not do that. You don't got to quit. You got to convert. Keep refining your skills before or after work. Build proof of concept. Build private offerings. Get the beta, get the data, right? And then start launching that offering after it's been. I am your host, Jay Britton. I help socially skilled introvert leaders create authority by building out their podcast. If you are new to the channel, thank you for tapping in. And if you're coming back, again, thank you for following, thank you for supporting. It means a lot and it gives me that energy I need to continue to bring valuable information. Okay. So today's episode, we're going to talk about you don't got to quit, you got to convert. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Don't quit your 9 to 5 to start a business. We don't want to do that because that's all bad. You got a family, you out there stepping out on faith. That is dumb. Do not do that. So I came out with a framework that will help you get there. And I'm going to give you a little insight in that framework, right? So the mic check method coaching system that's going to help you scale and build your personal brand, your platform while working your 9 to 5. So when do you start that? You started the 5 to 9, but if you're like me, you started in the AM. It's more like 5 a.m. or like 3 a.m. right? To, when I start for the day, right? But if you're a night owl and you got energy after, start it after 5 to 9. That's when you work on, you chip away at what you're supposed to chip away at. If that's recording episodes, if that's learning, if that's editing, if that's talking to your team, that's when you do that. That's how you can build your podcast. That's when you can shoot your episodes, your solo episodes, even in guests. You can have guests later, whatever works for you, but you can build outside of your job. And that's a cheat code right there. I just gave you some game. That's how you do that. That's how I'm doing it.
I want to take a pause for a second and talk about your confidence, right? You got the experience, the results, the credibility, but when it comes to putting your voice out there, fear creeps in. Who am I to do this? Does that sound familiar? That's imposter syndrome, and it's keeping you small. My coaching is about breaking through that, helping you turn your expertise into content, conversation, and coaching that builds real influence in your industry. So if you're done hiding behind titles and ready to lead with your story, head over to connectingwithcreatives.com/coaching and let's get started. I'll see you soon.
Now, I've been a part of starting successful podcasts. I've helped those podcasts monetize. I've been, the hosting role. Didn't too much care for that at that time, but I more so cared about the business of the podcast. And that's what I found out that I was really passionate about was like, okay, how do podcasts make money? Okay, cool. I know you have your, YouTube would pay you. You do, I knew that. But then once I went down that road, like, oh, okay, I started to see like these partnerships. It's a real thing. So I've worked with some of the biggest names as far as like partnership deals, collaborations, some big brands I've worked with, and I've been able to get deals for content creators. So I know how that works. And I personally made thousands of dollars in working with these big brands, and I'm still getting paid to this day. I told my wife this morning, I'm like, yo, I made, thousands of dollars with them, and I'm still getting paid for content that I put out years ago, 5+ years ago, to get in early, build a relationship, and show that I had social proof in doing what I was doing at the moment, right? So I have a lot of those. So the next thing I want to talk about is proof of concept. That is huge. Okay. So again, we talked about working on your platform, working on your business before work or after work, whatever suits you. But the next thing you have to do is, like I said in the last episode, is showing up consistent, right? Showing up that you are like I just spoke about having partnerships and affiliations. I got those partnerships and affiliations. It's because I was consistent online. When I was a strength and conditioning coach, right? In the health and wellness space. I showed up consistently. I gave some socially skilled introverted energy, right? To where I had to turn up and motivate people to do, to work out, to be them best selves. Like, I used to turn up back in the day, right? But I showed up, and those organizations, those companies, like, okay, yeah, we can get well. We're gonna work around because he's showing up consistent. He's about this. When you go to my page at the time, it was like, okay, we know he's gonna have that grind morning in the stories. He's gonna wake up, let's get it. That motivation, they knew that was coming. They knew like the workouts was there. They knew that, your boy was athletic. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Hops back in the day. Anybody, know me back in the day, know that I have bunnies. I could jump. I'm very athletically inclined, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was known for. And I showed up, and that's how I was able to land those partnership, affiliate deals. It was good. It's still good, right? So that's a different way. You have to have proof of concept. Like I said before, what are you building online? What can a company go back to and refer to? Like, is Jay really the guy he says he is? Because like, it doesn't matter about the following, right? The following does matter to a certain extent, but a lot of these smaller creators have a niche, they have a lane, and they're speaking to a specific audience. And if it's, for example, if it's all about CrossFit and all you post is about CrossFit, your PRs, your times and stuff like that, what you're eating, that's a specific demographic, right? If you're only talking about that, and companies are willing to get behind that because maybe that's in alignment with their campaign, their brand. It's so many different factors on why, you showing up with your online resume consistent will get you into the doors of some of these, these brand deals and things of that nature. And then the thing you can do, like if you're showing up and maybe, you have your lane, maybe you're doing your thing. And after a while, maybe you're just like offering like a silent launch, a quiet, launch, a private offering that you're doing. Maybe it's a beta test that you have, maybe about 10, 15 people, maybe 5 people go through your course, maybe go through your coaching, and you're getting them results. That's a way to also prove to yourself in, the 5, 10, 15 people that you can deliver on what you said. And then another benefit of that, they're going to give you feedback, and then you can improve the offering. You can improve the coaching. You can improve the deliverables, right? That's a way that you can have proof of concept. You have an offering, they give you feedback, you take that feedback back, and then you make it even better. And then the last thing is just like take it to the platform, start putting it out on LinkedIn, YouTube, Apple, wherever, right? Start putting your offerings out there. Maybe you have a private community. Maybe you put it out there first. And like I said before, like maybe they beta test it and give you plenty of good feedback, right? So there's many ways you could do it, have proof of concept, pilot the offer and put it out on your private community or multiple platforms. And then another way, the last one I'm gonna leave you guys with is, people get caught up what to do first, right? Whether it's a newsletter, whether it's a podcast, which is easy because maybe I'm biased, but it's easy. Or, a newsletter is cool too because all you got to do is type, right? So if you want to build that confidence up, yeah, start with the newsletter. Start your newsletter, put it out, put out information on a weekly basis, maybe multiple times in a week. Give your insight, give your expertise, give, free information, gather, more information, more insight from the people that are on the newsletter, and you can build from there. And then you can have a private offering from that newsletter, from that podcast, just like I'm doing. From the podcast, you can offer, like I have a free downloadable guide, right? What do I want to do? I want to gather the email information so I can reach out to you and give you more valuable information. And from that valuable information, if you're interested in coaching and want to take your podcast to the next level, or you want to start your podcast, you want to monetize your podcast, you want to figure out how to, bring more value or to offer your coaching or consulting services to, whatever industry you're in, that's what that more high ticket offering is for, but I'm putting it out there. And it's a different way. It's a different way to monetize. It's a different way to get the feedback. And maybe it won't happen like off top. Maybe you have to do 500 videos. Maybe you have to put out 500 pieces of content. Maybe you need to reach out to 100 people until one says yes. But what do you have? You have some data. That's all organic. We're not even talking about ads. We haven't even went down there, right? I spoke on the last episode about joint ventures. That's a quick way to monetize your platform, right? So you don't have to quit your 9 to 5. Keep refining your skills before or after work. Build proof of concept, build private offerings, get the beta, get the data, right? And then start launching that offering after it's been refined, after you got the feedback, to the people that subscribe to your email list, to your newsletter, to your podcast, and they're in your inbox, right? Then you go offer that. And then once you get past that, it's just like, okay, cool, that's going. I need to duplicate it. I need to come faster. Or you have bandwidth, or you have a mini course, or you have a community you want to funnel people in to give them valuable information. That's why you want to funnel them in. And what does that do? That creates confidence, that creates credibility, that creates, more importantly, moolah, money, dinero. That creates flexibility, that creates freedom to do what you're really passionate about. And you don't have to quit. You can have a nice, comfortable, income that's coming in to supplement that vacation, to pay for, vow renewals, to pay for college tuition, if that's your goal. Or you can replace your income. You can, if I've done seen it, you can replace your job you're comfortable at, where they pay you 6 figures. You can build something that's automated and frictionless, and it's flexible. You can do that while you still have your 9 to 5. So don't quit your 9 to 5. If you're interested in learning more on how to monetize and how to build out your coaching, your consulting, your speaking program through podcasting, apply in the show notes, apply in the description, wherever you could find it. Click on it, apply. It's about 3 to 5 minutes to apply. You'll get the feedback and we'll go from there. And if we're not a good fit now, maybe later, but give me some feedback. If this really resonated with you, if this was valuable to you, let me know so I can continue to make content that serves you. I know, last thing, I know this is my calling, because every chance I get, my first thought is like thinking to that person that I was speaking to, man, you should use your skills to do X, Y, Z. And it's been like that for a while. It's been like throughout my coaching career. Like when I was a strength and conditioning coach, and I started self training, stay-at-home moms, corporate people. Then I got into athletes. But those corporate people, those clients that I had, I always thought, you should do this. And this is like 15 plus years ago. I've always been like that. I've always stayed curious. I've always seen the greater good in someone and their potential. And I've always encouraged them. So if you're trying to figure out what is your calling, what are you passionate about? What do you feel like that you've been called to do? Like, just think about that. Like, what have you done naturally, and what have you given people results on? Then it was weight loss, strength training, but I have something deeper. It was always like business. How can you do that? And like I said, I got the proof of getting brand deals, all that type of stuff. It was always been in me. Business, marketing, sales, I love it. Social media, I love it. Podcasting, I love it. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.